Mhm. Hey, I'm sorry I'm late. Got caught up in traffic, buddy. Okay, well, now that the day is over, how'd it go so far? Let me know everything about it. Hello, thank you for asking. Yeah, it went pretty alright. I mean, I gotta be honest. I woke up at around 7 o'clock. Okay. And I was in absolute shock. Really? Why would you be in shock? Well, it's a little embarrassing, but before I went to sleep, I put on some binaural beats to help me go to sleep. Really? That's interesting. Why would you do that? Well, if you must know, I have this problem where I don't know, I have a hard time going to sleep without any sound playing. It's like I've conditioned my brain to to only go to sleep if I have external stimuli. Interesting. Why do you think you need external stimuli? I've been hearing a lot about a thing called binaural beats. Really? And what are binaural beats? Well, it's supposed to be some kind of form of sound therapy for your mind. That apparently these binaural beats are able to give you this sense of deep relaxation. And I mean, to be honest, I'm not really seeking out for the deep relaxation and calm. I'm actually seeking it out because why? This is gonna sound really stupid. Because I hear it's a way of experiencing out of body experiences. What? Why would you want to have out of body experiences? Well, it has a lot to do with the fact that, I mean, I like researching interesting topics about things like near death experiences and like the afterlife and other dimensions, and apparently some people are able to experience these different dimensions based on this place called the Monroe Institute, which is basically a place where people are trained to do deep meditation to unlock something called remote viewing. What the heck is remote viewing? Well, apparently, it's supposed to be this form of traveling to another part of the world by simply just using your consciousness. And some people have apparently used this to explore like forgotten areas like caves or secret government bases. Apparently, there have been some reports of there being secret UFO bases that were explored by some remote viewers. And I'm a huge fan of the paranormal, UFOs, all that kind of stuff. And, I thought that maybe if I listened to some binaural beats, that might be able to allow me to remote view. Okay, well, how about let's just move on from this now, because I feel like we might be going into fringe territory, and let's go back to planet Earth, pun intended. Yeah, I guess you're right. Kind of making myself look a little crazy, I guess. Okay, well, anyways, let's just move on, okay? Best thing I've heard in this interview so far, honestly. Okay, so moving on, I woke up and I noticed that my little earphones that I put in my ears that I was listening to the binaural beats through, I mean, one was in my pocket, my pants pocket, or should I say pajama pocket, and there was a problem because I didn't know where the right one was. I was in shock because, me and those headphones have a long history together. What kind of history are we talking about here? What do you mean? I don't know. What do you mean? Well, I use these headphones to listen to podcasts, music, and I mean, the thing was, I got them, they are like Sony WF-4000 headphones, and they were used on eBay, and they actually had terrible battery life, and that's because the lithium was bad. So I actually ordered a replacement lithium battery pack set, and it took me a long time, but I managed to put them back together, good as new. And yeah, so that time investment and that, putting all that effort really made making those headphones a special part of my listening experience. And losing one part of those headphones would be such a detriment to me because I put so much work into refurbishing them, and not having them anymore would be a shame, both financially and I don't know, just it would just suck. That's all I'm going to say. Did you find the other headphone? As a matter of fact, I did. That's great. Where did you find it? In my jacket chest pocket. The jacket I wore with me to sleep because last night was so gosh dang cold. That's fantastic. I'm so happy for you. What was it like losing those headphones? Well, as you could probably imagine, very stressful, and I honestly thought I wouldn't find them because I didn't think to check that part of my jacket. But when I felt a little lump in there when watching a YouTube video to help shield me from my impending sadness, I dug in it, and well, there it was. Man, and I went through so many things to try to get these headphones back. I even went so far as playing the loudest sound in the world on YouTube because they were wirelessly connected at the time. And the funny thing was, like, that sound, you could hear it from a mile away. And the thing was, I could hear the sound coming from the headphone that I knew was in my pocket, but the headphone that was in my little chest pocket, they were so close to each other, and I assumed that was just my left headphone, not my right headphone. So, but luckily, wow, that's really fascinating. Can we move on to the rest of your day, please? I can see you're very interested in this story. Okay, anyways, let's move on. Okay, great. I'm so happy to hear that. Yeah, so anyways, I'm trying to remember exactly what happened. After I found my headphones, I went to the kitchen and I had 3 of these cookies right here. The coconut oil ones, and some coffee too. Oh, it was very tasty. I love home cooked baked goods, especially from my mom. And my mom started making some egg sandwiches with carne asada meat, and it was so good. I loved it, loved it, loved it. That's great. Fantastic. Anything interesting happen around the breakfast table? Anything you want to share or elaborate on? No, not really. Okay, cool. So, what did you do after that? Well, I worked on my little journal here, little planner, and I had quite a busy schedule I wanted to do. For instance, I wanted to clean my pool vacuum. Don't you mean your mom's pool vacuum? Family pool vacuum. Afterwards, I wanted to recycle cans and bottles to make way for some hooks to be hooked on the side of our living space so we could have our bikes chill out there. That's nice. Did you do that? Not before putting on my virtual reality headset, of course, to test out some goggles I had on hand. So before you did anything productive, you did something that wasn't very productive. Okay. All right. I see you've got your priorities straight. Thank you. I knew we were operating on the same wavelength. Yeah, sure. Well, thing is, actually wanted to listen to a podcast while working because I knew that this job was going to take a really long time, and I honestly felt like I needed to stimulate my brain for the next 3 hours while doing something very boring and mundane. Boring and mundane, eh? Okay. So, what exactly did you learn from this podcast? What was the podcast, anyways? Well, if you really must know, this podcast is called Diary of the CEO, and it's basically where this very rich entrepreneur, I think that's how it's pronounced, interviews a whole lot of guests who are very knowledgeable and science-backed about various subjects. That's very fascinating. So, what was this podcast about, anyways? Well, if you must know, I actually listened to 2 of these podcasts from the same creator, I might add. Whoa. Hey, you must really like this guy if you're willing to listen to 2 of his podcasts. But answer the original question, please. What were the podcasts about? Well, the first one was about dopamine and how we can become more aware of how dopamine works. It was very, very informative. I mean, if I were to recall one good key takeaway I got from that podcast, it was that our brains were not designed for this modern world of instant gratification, of having everything delivered to us on a silver platter. In fact, the lady who was being interviewed by this Diary of CEO host stated that apparently it's actually good that we cut out all of that excessive stimuli and instead, well, we focus on doing menial, boring activities that release small but natural amounts of dopamine. It was very enlightening, to say the least. In fact, she even said that is a great idea if you can do a 30-day fast on something that gives you easy dopamine. For example, I guess a good example would be, I don't know, TikTok. Really, a personal ban on TikTok. I pronounced that weird, didn't I? Never mind. Anyways, so what exactly happens when you go for a 30-day fast of something like a TikTok? Well, it's quite interesting. At the start, you're going to have heavy withdrawals. You're going to have a really hard time resisting the urge to scroll for very easy entertainment. But as time goes on, and you let your brain become accustomed to a world without TikTok like it was pre, I don't know, 2020. I don't remember when TikTok was released, but before then it's like your brain does kind of like a dopamine bath sort of reset, and it starts actually feeling really good, and it starts appreciating the things that it had before and didn't really appreciate at all until the stimuli that kept you sucked in was cut out. So it forced your brain to sort of reprogram itself to become more appreciative of things that you pretty much took for granted, like taking a walk or breathing the fresh air outside or touching grass. But now that you have unplugged and are replugging into the real world, you feel more alive and excited to live another day. Sounds like something we could all do. So, what was the other podcast all about? Well, the other podcast from the same podcast creator was about a man who is starting a business, and apparently he is saying that the way we currently run things is very much how the Industrial Revolution ran things. But apparently, in this age of the digital medium, like the internet and stuff like artificial intelligence, this guy who is running businesses and doing startups says what's more important now than ever is building a personal brand. And if you can make a personal brand that people can really enjoy, then you are practically having it set. Because nowadays, before when the Industrial Revolution kicked off and things were very, I don't know, what would you call it? Corporate. That's it. Corporate. Thank you. You're welcome. Yes, so with the corporation, things became very professionally ran, and the thing was, that was all anyone knew when corporations started way back in the day. But now we are in a new age of industry, and that's the personal industry. And the thing is, we now have technology like our smartphones and like, these cheap microphones, and practically everything we need to make our own content, or really anything. You could start a bakery or have some kind of trade skill. And if you know how to build yourself up as a personal brand by using things like artificial intelligence and just being smart about how you advertise yourself on the internet, then you'll be part of the, in his own words, part of the own 1% or like 5% of doers rather than the consumers. So, but yeah, this is some fascinating stuff. I liked every minute of it because it offered good insight to how things are evolving and changing as we speak. That's so interesting. And so you listen to all of this while cleaning the pool vacuum and doing the recycling with the aluminum cans and bottles. Is that correct? Right, yeah, I kind of got carried away there. Thanks for recentering things for me. You're welcome. Okay, right. So okay, washing the pool vacuum was quite a breeze, although there was some debris in the pool. Oh, what kind of debris? Well, you know those pool noodles, you know, the ones made of styrofoam? Yes, very familiar. But anyways, continue. Yeah, well, anyways, it basically got eaten up by the sun, and now it was a bunch of pieces of this pink styrofoam noodle that was all over the pool. So I practically had to scoop each and every piece out using the little net that we had alongside the pool. But we got that squared away. And once that mess was gone, I felt better about doing the real activity because I knew I wasn't leaving a mess behind and I was leaving the pool better than I found it. Ever wonder why oranges are called oranges, but carrots aren't called oranges? Are you even listening to me? Sorry, got distracted by this orange. Anyways, go ahead and, talk about what were you talking about again? I was talking about cleaning the pool before digging the pool vacuum out to clean the inside netting inside of it. That's so interesting. So, pool vacuum clean? Yes, pool vacuum clean. Awesome. And cans and bottles recycled? Yes, cans and bottles recycled. Absolutely great. Okay. Honestly, it's getting a little late. Say, can we go for a little speed round, please? What, are you getting bored of my stories now? Just a teensy bit, little bit. And honestly, it's almost 12. I want to go to bed. Fine, okay, lightning round. Here we go. Are you ready? Yes, please. All right, here we go. So, my mom's friend arrived from a doctor's appointment. She got lunch from her friend from Chili's. It was this fried chicken in a spicy sauce with some fries and also some chips. She gave her leftovers to me. They were very good. I reheated the chips in the microwave, and those are pretty good. But I reheated the chicken in frying oil, which probably wasn't a great decision because I felt really lethargic afterwards. No kidding. And then what happened next? As I was eating this meal, I was watching a new Wendigoon video. Who's Wendigoon? He's a famous YouTuber who likes talking about things like cryptids, lore, scary stories, creepypastas, things like that. Thank you for the catch-up. Let's move on. Yes, I watched his newest video about this scary series of videos about a game, fictional game called Petscop. And it was very creepy. It's kind of like ghosts stuck in a game. I know, very original for a creepypasta story, but presentation is everything. And the presentation in this creepypasta is some of the best you will find in the world of creepypasta. So, yeah, I recommend it if you're interested. Good to know. Lightning round, remember? Okay, all right. So I watched this while eating, and my mom took the cans to the recycling center. And the thing was, there was some water in these cans that leaked through the bag and onto my car seat. Luckily, it wasn't the front one, it was the back one. But nonetheless, I was really peeved about that. But hey, that's the nature of dealing with what is essentially valuable trash. So we drove over to our nearest recycling center. We popped it on in, and I got a crisp $150 from what could amount to about 2 years worth of work. That's like $77 a year. I know, right? Okay, lightning round. Right. Okay, so after this, we drove back home. My sister was there and she brought us pizza. I was feeling rather gross from being at the recycling center because I feel like every breath at that place is like you're breathing your life away through microplastic dust and just all manner of dirt and grime. So I took a shower while singing, I might add. That's cute. What songs did you sing? Lightning round, remember? What songs did you... My gosh. The soundtrack to Sonic Unleashed. No, there's nothing to be ashamed of. That's actually a really good soundtrack. Wait a minute. There's lyrics in the songs? Well, there's lyrics in one song, Endless Possibilities. What can I say? I find it very uplifting and fun. I remember Endless Possibilities. That was a good song. I think I might listen to it again. I know, right? Lightning round, remember? Yes, sir. Okay, anyways. So I wanted to show my sister and my mom a clip from an abandoned 1990s film that would have starred Jim Carrey called The Incredible Mr. Limpet, which was a remake of an older 1960s film about a man who turns into a fish. It was the 60s and also the 90s. But yeah, the footage was noteworthy for costing $10 million and looking really creepy because it's literally Jim Carrey's face on top of the fish. Okay, anyways, after that, my sister served me some pizza. I ate the pizza. It was really good. And then me, her, and my mom had a long form discussion. And eventually she took off. And after that, me and my mom's friend all had a great discussion, very insightful, about where each of us are at in life. And it was pretty cool. And afterwards, we watched a movie, one of the big Oscar contenders starring Macaulay Culkin's brother, called A Real Pain. It was a really good movie. I actually give it a solid 10 out of 10, which is something I don't give movies lightly, so this one really stuck with me. I thought it was simple, clean, effective, and funny, but also deeply meaningful and impactful. And the guy who played the cousin in the film was very real. He felt very natural. Macaulay Culkin's brother. He's a great actor, and I honestly can totally see why he won both the Oscar and the Screen Actors Guild Award. So bravo to that guy. And then after that, we all turned out for the night except for me, where I decided to be interviewed by myself. All right, that's cool. Now, before we go, did you work on your motion comic? No. Okay, did you improve at your artistic abilities when it comes to being a draftsman in drawing? No. Alrighty, well, are you still going to be working on that tomorrow since you have tomorrow off? Why, yes I am. Okay, I choose to believe you. Well, I think that's all the questions we have for today. Thank you for joining me, sir. The pleasure was all mine. Thank you so much. So, interview over, right? Yep. Good night. I'll see you next time. Take care, champ. Goodbye. Oh, he seemed like a nice guy.